Well, guys, I gotta admit, I didn't think it'd get this bad this quick. Um, I still don't think people are quite there as far as this game is imminently in major trouble with its demise impending, but it's definitely taken a couple new steps. Last video I reported, and various other people, game was at about a 4.7 rating, has now spiraled to a 3.3 as people keep review bombing it. And it's getting pretty serious here, so I'm going to go over what I thought were the highlights, as well as we'll start off with an informative story here in case you're not keeping up, so that you guys can be made aware. Now, fair warning, I'm going to read a lot, so get ready. Here we go. So this is an article by Miss Kiara Hugendam. Sorry if I mispronounced it. Excellent article, but I'm going to go ahead and read it for you. Last straw. Recently, Epic 7 has been caught up in a storm of bad publicity. Following its most recent patches, with its Google Play rating dropping from a 4.7 to a 3.4. Now, subreddits also flooded with critical feedback ranging from complaints to speculation to suggestions on how to implement new features better. Some players are even quitting the game, leaving posts listing their reasons why. I think the mood music fits here. Epic 7's average rating, 3.4. Look at those one shoot up. Review list per breakdown, so you can kind of see it there. It was genuinely good up until recently, and then all of a sudden, wham! The freaking floor fell out. The backlash is all for poorly implemented new features. But to better understand why these features are disappointing, first we need to take a better look at how the game is designed. The problem. In Epic 7, equipment is everything. For progression, a hero's base stats unequipped are only about 1/6 of their stats when equipped with good gear. Content in the game is scaled accordingly, with difficulty melting away once proper stat thresholds have been reached. However, this progression is also set up very carefully so that it's impossible to truly max out characters. In the process of acquiring equipment and enhancing it, there are at least a dozen RNG-dependent opportunities to mess up the process depending on what rarity the gear is. For your trouble, it costs anywhere from 5 to 10 million gold to build a single piece, and you need 6 pieces to complete a hero. Got a little example here of items. What's funny is attack is probably the second best roll you could get on that, but people really want that speed, so that would be an example in most cases of people thinking a weapon's messed up. And then flat health on an effectiveness ring, although not the worst thing. Not the best either. Like with most freemium games, currency is kept in careful balance. Usually this means intentional scarcity of premium currencies and abundance of everything else. But with Epic 7, the scarcity occurs around gold, stamina, and most importantly, your time. Smilegate has promised features that would reduce the amount of time players need to sink into the game to progress. Yeah. However, the actual implementation falls short of the mark and even pads out gameplay further, creating a monotonous experience. Newest features. Pet system. Pets were introduced about a month ago and were intended to enable autoplay, and they do, but only when bribed with rare currency and a homemade snack. Or the homemade snack, rather. These are currently very scarce and difficult to obtain, making auto-repeat battling very limited. Tips. This actually cracked me up. Macros and apps like Auto-Cricker can allow repeat auto battles without consuming homemade snacks. Keep in mind, though, that automation breaks the game's terms of service and should be done at the player's own risk. So there you have it, guys. GamePress.gg advocating botting. Hell yeah. Pets also disappointed players because they require a lot of gold to adopt and raise. Given how much gold is already needed to create equipment, having another feature competing for the gold, or for the currency, did more harm than good. It did introduce some valuable bonuses, especially for hunts, but overall the feature feels more distracting than helpful. World boss. World Boss was first teased as a game mode almost a year ago, yet the actual implementation fails to be interesting or engaging. It is completely automatic and requires a very geared out roster, which only exacerbates the problem around the around equipment that many players are having. To make matters worse, the drop table is padded out with common items. It's very easy making a nice mini-game with a chance for good rewards, but the expectation was set much higher, hence the disappointment. Yeah, this has to be the worst implementation of a raid I've ever seen in literally anything. Literally anything. Now, it's a little bit hard to zoom in here, but if you see these rewards, as it says in the icon, italicized text there, pretty much everything below Molagor is forgettable. Molagor is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 down in a list of about, I'd say right around 20 to 18 rewards for most of them. So pretty sad overall, pretty sad. Now, gear conversion. This feature is so stingy it might as well not exist. In our own guide, it's clear that it's only worth doing if optimized, and even the returns just barely justifies the cost. Given the expectations player had for a recycling kind of system, it was a huge letdown. Uche's shop. This is just patronizing. The truth is, gachas and game design. The truth is, gacha games and hero collectors deliberately have bad game design, extra credits, and make a good case for differentiating between engagement and compulsory, or compulsion rather, below. Then they got a link to a video. Gacha games mainly thrive on compulsion or creating an obligation to play rather than engagement or genuine interest in the content. That's not to say that the whole genre is terrible and we should drop them all, though. For mid-game players, Epic 7 remains intrinsically rewarding, with the problem-solving involved in beating hunts, Abyss, Guild Wars, arena opponents, the Hall of Trials, and Hell Raid. Mastery also comes into play for PvP and the knowledge required to anticipate enemy action. With that said, nobody can deny that Epic 7 is padded out with the most Skinner, I assume they mean skinny, maybe Skinner box mechanics. It's quite telling that one of the most highly anticipated features in the game actually allows you to skip playing the game. The time investment only serves as a barrier to the most engaging content. Of course, with its treadmill-like nature, Epic 7's progression is engineered so that the next milestone is always ahead of the player. The gear grind isn't a ticket to play the game, it is the game. Temporary information. For those who go in knowing this, Epic 7 is still a fun experience, but others who expect more are rightfully bored and feel cheated out of their time, energy, and money. What's the point of buying Mystic Packs and summoning more heroes if you can't properly gear them? Why spend more time grinding Banshee when the resulting pieces of equipment all have crappy stats? Skystones even have very little use with slow rate of new banners and season passes. For Epic 7, and the gacha genre to survive with its monetization model, the gameplay needs to actually be enjoyable. Sadly, in the mobile genre, and many RPGs, both players and developers have lost sight of one simple principle. The game should be fun. Smilegate has posted a notice promising changes and improvements. Whether due to translation issues or careful wording, however, the statements are too vague to generate high expectations. My hope, though, is that the publisher and developer can decide on a better direction for Epic 7 and be more honest with players along the way. Kira's information is all there, and that was actually a very good article, by the way, Kira. You'll probably never see this, but either way, I'm actually impressed considering the state of most games journalism in the world. So. Now, we got a couple other things. We'll get to reaction here. Alright, so we got a couple articles I'm going to go into here. So this guy was a dev on the Reddit, and a bunch of people started giving their perceptions as whatever they were. And this guy is apparently a developer for games, so here's his assessment of the current situation. It's actually a pretty good read. I've been in game development for more than 10 years. I wanted to share my view on what is potentially causing all this. Let's see here. I feel that This is more of a productive design issue than SC being greedy, scummy. Why is this a production design issue? They are taking a long time to produce new features. I'm not talking about new story content and tweaking existing features. Those things they can do pretty well. I'm referring to items like pet system, trial, towers, etc. Long development time equals production issues. Pet is a good example when they took almost a year to complete. From experience, features, games that take a long time means development problem, and most likely it got rebooted at least once. This usually results in poor execution when it is finally out because time running out and forced to come up with something. Going in circles in design decisions. Gear conversion, Golden Hammer shows it potentially switch design a lot during development. This is the worst because nothing is done, which is usually the result of delay / reboot. I know we seldom hear the switch design, but when dev teams announce a feature to the public, it's usually 90% finalized. If they can change last minute, it tells me that they changed design a lot more in mid-development. Too focused on grind as a way to mask slow development. This is a good one. This is why they are so hesitant to reduce gold costs, auto-repeat, better loot, and better gear upgrades. Worried players totally have nothing to do. Right now, in-game is just doing shitty Hunt 11 runs and hope for good gear, but at least there's still something for the player to do. Their fear is, if they max gear easy and achieve, gold costs, loot, etc., then there's really nothing to do anymore and no reason to play the game. No proper in-game is the #1 issue. Oh, here it is. Hold on, guys. Okay, here it is. Their inability to solve this that causes the frustration on the grind is prolonged with RNG. The rewards structure is destroying in-game content. Rewards are totally not worth it for in-game players and make in-game content not worth doing. They try too hard to be paid to win on reward. Look at the reward tier and you can see the difference is minimal. They are trying to say casual new players will not lose out on much, and in-game players will not grow stronger so they can catch up. The reward makes content not worth doing properly. Good example of this would be Tower and Trials. Even when the Tower was hard and the reward was crap, an SSS reward is not much different than completing to B grade. It has the potential to be challenging and rewarding to make in-game players do it properly rather than auto. Why this is not because super creative being greedy and scamming out of money. There are more effective ways to be greedy. It's no secret gacha games earn most of their money from heroes rather than energy. There is also no power creep, which is another main source of easy monetization. Slow release of new heroes. Since August, they had released ML units at a slower pace, and RGB heroes are pretty slow too. This is most likely RGB red, green, blue. This is most likely because they put more time into balancing rather than skill. It's less than having more powerful new units. Especially ML units, which is an easy way to milk whales since they can reuse existing animations from red, green, and blue units. New features actually hurt their monetization. Pet food is a good example, where it actually prevents sales boosts of leaf packs without restricting people. Or excuse me, without restriction, people will likely buy more energy since it is unlimited auto. You can argue that they will sell pet food in the future for money, but any business would want to consider their results as soon as possible. Pet food issue is more in line with the fear of people maxing out gear too fast and have nothing to do with what I've mentioned. Their revenue has been going down since August. This is most likely due to the pity system for both banners and mystics. The only monetization feature that focus feature that was on release was Epic Pass from August to now, but that didn't do too well for them. Yeah, the Epic Pass, it was actually pretty good the first couple months, and then I noticed that they nerfed the rewards pretty badly on the last couple that I was in, so I pretty much stopped getting it, unless I wanted a specific thing. You can check their monthly review from Sensor Tower or App Annie, but requires paid subscription for the previous month. So, let's see here. Let's see how they handle the situation. Right now, they're still holding grind as their main in-game mode from their responses and not fully addressing the issue. I hope they can overcome the grinding and fear and fix the internal development issue. That is going to be a lot of work, especially for this team that's very slow to adapt to things. Lastly, on review bombing. The days when games and service and a dev's reputation is as good as their latest patch, or these days rather. A good patch will make most people happy with some complaints, while an unfavorable patch will have pitchforks out trying to hurt the dev badly. As a dev, I feel very sadly that players have had to resort to terrorist attacks, or terror attacks to get a response. Yes, it is effective, but it is not really building a good relationship between the dev. I understand people do it because they could care else they would have walked off peacefully. But like a bad relationship, because emotions is high, a couple can hurt each other, and over time, the relationship turns to hate. This sounds like a novel now. Be respectful and communicate calmly to get your point across. Well, see, the problem is people have done that, and they have not taken them seriously. So, I disagree with that part of the post. It is easier to receive feedback in a respectful tone. That's the end of that post. Overall, really good post. And read a couple comments here real quick. That's an interesting read. I'm just a bit curious as to why Super Creative Smilegate would publish a 10-year-long activity plan when they seem to lack confidence in the development of their own product. Not that it's much of a big deal, it just seems more reasonable to set the bar lower and not raise expectations so high. Well, a 10-year is a long time, and they would have to improve by gaining experience along the way. You have to remember that Super Creative is a new studio founded in 2015, and E7 is their first game. They got funding from Smilegate to develop it, and on their first try to become so successful, it's an indie dream. It's only natural for them to dream big of the success they had so far. So essentially, the success at first is bigger than what they can handle, which is probably part of the problem as well. Now we're going to get into a new thread here. And here we go, I found this. Why do people keep making fun of Smilegate in their 10-year plan? It is not 10, they said 20. And he links like a picture here. Let's see if I can open it real fast. I don't know if it's going to display fairly right, but I guess that's them saying it's a 20-year plan. The goal is to refine the feeling of adventure in this mobile age where games are too progression-focused. Super Creative co-lead Hung Suk Kim explained, "We put a lot of work into this project. Our goal is to service this game for more than 20 years with our unique 2D quality." So there you have it. 99% sure. They also mentioned a 10-year frame. Don't have a source for it for the E7 Fiesta. Yeah, 10 years, 1 episode per year. They can start considering for just 2 years at the rate that they are ruining the game. You are too generous. But anyways, refine the feeling of adventure in this mobile RPG age where games are too progression focused. Feels bad, man. But grinding is the focus of our game. And then someone links the interview and stuff, so... Now, you might be wondering, how did Super Creative / Smilegate respond to this? What is the great fix that they have for us? What is this amazing, amazing community discourse that they brought us? Well, we got another update content patch. New hero. Yay. Hero. Can't gear, but new hero. You gotta move gear from your good characters, and that's gonna cost 6 pieces. You got, like, say, level 70-ish at least gear, and you're looking at probably 1,000,000 gold. Plus. Not to mention skill ups and all that. So Alina's here. High Priestess of the Constella, who grew up gazing up at the shining stars. Ice Elemental Heroes. Protects her allies using invincibility and effect resist. Really not going to go into the heroes, because I pretty much don't care. It's a new hero that I'm not going to be able to gear. But I'll do it in a separate video anyways, just because, so... Anywho, of course, there's a new artifact, as there is with every hero. 30% chance to dispel one debuff from ally when attacked. Side story, another side story, yay. Yay. Featuring Alina. And let's see how the community responding here. Livestream better address the problem, Smilegate. Another filler week? Seriously, Smilegate? Did you see the E7 rating in the Google Play Store is already plunged into the 3 regions? Can we please get something other than constant side stories? They're fine every once in a while, but I need a freaking break from them. Can we please have some challenging content? Yeah, let's see here. So instead of fixing the game, you want to add more challenging content that will require the use of an exorbitant amount of gold to unequip and build a team. Nice. Let's see here. I was under impression the live stream is just gaming and not news or anything. That's why they have 4 different time live streams in a month or in January. It is not even Korean people doing live streams, the devs, so I wouldn't expect anything a live stream. Which good advice, by the way. Got some crap talk here. Big talk for some bleep that doesn't even notice the direction the game is heading. It's a 3.3 right now on Google Play at this time of this post. That's around half the people give it a blimping 1 to the game. The same ones that are asking Smilegate to fix their act. And yeah. So, you can see the community's working out really well here. How does the fact of Smilegate adding Mystic's pity correlate with them refusing to fix core gameplay problems like energy, gear, hell raid, just to keep players stuck in an endless grime loop as they struggle with releasing new content in time? The fact they promised this new hell raid bosses way before all the drama with the Koreans happened in gear conversion after being postponed for so long. Being released in this nonsensical state is just the last straw. Yeah, the way that they finally released the raid hell bosses was actually kind of puzzling, to be honest. But at that point, I didn't care anymore. Lastly, it's not that I'm forgetting the massive changes, which were released back in September, by the way. Currently, it's December. It's that I weren't even talking about the summons in the first place, yet you tagged me to prove this point on a whole. Another topic you made up for yourself, so once again, community is pretty much what the community is. That's all I got to say about it. So there are the happenings in Epic 7, guys, so it's getting pretty bad, and I think one of the main issues going forward now is Smilegate and Super Creative willing to put in the effort to not just make stopgap fixes. Those are fine, like, you know, on the way to an official solution. But pretty much all we usually get are stopgap fixes. And finally, this all boiled over to the point of people have just had enough and not going to take it anymore, and you just wish you could be a mid, you know, play the mid game for the rest of the game back when it was actually fairly fun. Kind of sad to see, actually. Even though I'm not personally playing the game as much as I used to, I don't want to see Epic 7 go down the crapper, but if they don't seriously start considering their development process and get some more people in there, and they make enough money to get some extra hands in there, I don't see what the issue is there, unless they're siphoning all the money off for other projects, or they got a giant loan with the Mafia or something crazy, I don't know. Anywho, so let me know what you guys think about all this, and I already gave my thoughts on the game in another video, but it's not looking good, man. It's not looking good. We'll see what happens when they announce their fix, but I'm assuming that if they announce a fix and it's another stopgap measure, like I said before, their development as far as developing new features for the game has not been good. They need to actually, if they were smart, they should go hire, you know, someone that worked on, say, like Grand Blue Fantasy or even FFBE at this point to be like, okay, here's some actual game modes that people might actually find fun that you can start developing. And, you know, you could have a lull between side stories and that type of thing. But, and If I remember correctly, weren't they making a new raid? That's gonna go over swimmingly now. Anyways, that's plenty. Enough on this topic. Sad to see the mighty fall. Hopefully, Smilegate can make it. We'll see. I mean, you know, cry for me, Argentina. They're still making lots of money, but it is starting to go down. So anyhow, that is it, guys. Let me know what you guys think of this topic, and I will see you during the show. Have a great